Hello, my name is Matt Reardon. We're here at Bluecrest World Headquarters, and joining me is Mike Broad. And we are very excited to show you today one of our newest innovations having to do with the card attachment industry. So let's get right to it. Mike?
So this is the new card attaching module that we've developed here at Bluecrest. Integrates into Direct Connect and to all of our chassis bases. So some of the market segments that this solution will be able to serve are the banking industry with credit cards, the healthcare industry with health identification cards, the DMV industry where we're going to be able to mail licenses, and gift card and loyalty. Just about anything that you receive in the mail today with a card attached to a piece of paper, we will be able to do on our solution. And we feed plastic cards, we feed metal cards, and we feed a cardboard type card. Not paper, but it's more of a cardboard substrate, something that would be attached to your carrier.
Well, why don't we open some covers and show the details of how this system works.
Absolutely. This is the card feeder section. Our card feeder feeds up to 500 cards, singulates them. We have a scan station here where we can scan OCR, 1D, 2D, or magstripe. Through this feeder section here, we have divert bins that allow cards that are exceptions to be outsorted. So as the card conveys down the card feeder leg, it comes into the staging area right here where the pick and place mechanism comes down and picks up the card, conveys it forward, matches the speed of the carrier, which never stops as it's moving through the transport, and at the proper time it'll lower the card directly down onto the carrier where the hot glue has been applied and affix the card to the carrier. After we attach the card and verify that in fact it's been placed on the carrier in the correct location, we have a second integrity check where we can scan the card and the code on the carrier to validate the match between the card and the carrier. This scan station ensures that the card and carrier do in fact match.
I see a lot of verification there, Mike. What happens if there's an error?
Well, should the camera and the carrier not match at this final integrity check station, we have two divert bins built in to this module that allow you to take out the carrier by itself if there's no card on it, or if the carrier and the card do a mismatch, we have another divert bin.
I see the next step would be folding.
Well, one of the things we learned early on is that you really can't fold paper with a card on it in our traditional buckle roll folder. So we've leveraged new technology and innovation to develop what you see here, which is a dual fold cluster, which by the way can be configured in many different ways to allow tri-fold, C-fold, half-fold. So by doing single folds in each one of these two fold clusters, we move the buckle chutes to allow the entry of the paper and the exit of the paper to be as flat as it can to avoid popping the card off of the carrier.
All right, so then after folding, it is off to the races down into our normal insertion engines. So Mike, this is a nice document. I had a question follow-up on the printing. You mentioned we can print on the carrier. Can we print on the cards themselves?
We can print on paper cards, tag stock, and bond stock with our inkjet technology. So we have that ability, yes.
So this device is modular. Modular means that we can actually remove that whole section when you don't need it. If you're a customer who doesn't need to run cards all the time, this unit can be moved away and the normal input can be attached to run your regular mail. For example, banking industry, healthcare, you might want to run cards once a week and you might want to run your statements and letters and so forth the rest of the time. This affords you the capability of not having to dedicate a machine just for card attaching.
All right, Matt, let's take a walk out on the floor. Let me show you our chassis tip-on solution. Good.
All right, Mike, we're out here on the factory floor looking at our chassis-based tip-on solution. Tell us a little bit about what we're looking at here.
Okay, Matt. Unlike the solution we just saw in the back in the engineering lab, this is a chassis tip-on card feeding solution where we feed the plastic cards directly out of an enclosure feeder and tip them onto the top of a carrier that's being conveyed down the transport. We apply hot glue to it, tip the card down onto the carrier, and do it up to 3 feeders on this particular configuration. A 2-card feeder, a 2-card feeder, and a single card feeder. That allows up to 5 cards to be put on one carrier. And this is primarily focused on householding where there's up to 5 people in a house, each getting their own insurance identification card. And this application runs 1, 2, 5 on that carrier that allows the recipients to each get their own insurance card in the mail.
So Mike, why would someone choose this system over the pick and place we saw on the MSE chassis?
Biggest difference between the two designs is the input pick and place design places the card on the carrier prior to folding. We put the card down on the carrier and then we fold the carrier around the card. On the chassis tip-on design, we tip the card directly on the carrier that's already folded. The pre-folded carrier can come from a standard input or it can come from an enclosure feeder mounted upstream of the card feeders. It's designed specifically for the Epic chassis, and it can be configured as you see here with multiple feeders.
What's the advantage of actually gluing the card onto the carrier here versus having a loose piece?
We learned from this particular client that their recipients were opening the mail, taking the carrier out, and throwing the envelope away, thus losing the cards in the envelope. So by gluing the card onto the carrier and then actually stacking the cards on top of each other and gluing them all together, forces the recipient to remove the cards with the carrier and no longer throw them away.
So Mike, I see we have the 2D code on the card. Can you explain how we're handling integrity with this system?
As you can see on these cards, they're scanning a 2D code. We have scanners fitted on all these feeders, and that code will match with the carrier. So we ensure 100% integrity, card to carrier match in all instances. Should either of these be out of match, either the carrier or the card will advance feeding to put the system back into match sequence so that you can resume your normal operation. When you do match resyncing, the machine will stop, the operator can just remove the unmatched contents, and the machine automatically goes back into its own resynchronization mode.
Very good. Now, you mentioned the fold. This is on a half fold piece we're tipping onto. We can do other sizes, Z fold, C fold?
Yes, you can fold any of the material dimensions for the Epic. We can use and apply the card to it. It could be a flat running down the chassis, not folded. It could be 6x9, or it could be tri-folded, or it could just be a buck slip that's not folded. It's just simply an enclosure you want to tip a card onto and gather it with other contents out of standard enclosure feeders and then insert into the envelope.
The Epic comes in two speeds, 21 and 24K. We can go up to 24K with this?
Yes, this will match the speed of the chassis, whether you're running at 21K or the enhanced 24K speed. Certainly matches the speeds that the industry is demanding and brings that feature forward now of card attaching into the Epic platform.
What do you think makes us unique in the industry?
Integrity, speed, and versatility. For integrity, this is developed and designed by Bluecrest, so it's fully integrated into our Direct Connect platform. We've done all the design work for the material handling and the integration into Direct Connect. So high integrity system. High speed, because we run at 24,000 an hour, same speed that the chassis runs up to. So we match the speed of the chassis. There is no speed impact running tip-on card feeding on the Epic chassis. And third is not being a dedicated solution. This is not a dedicated asset that when you invest, you're focused only on card feeding. This solution, because it sits on the Epic chassis, allows it to run in either card feed mode with the feeders simply enabled, or in regular work with the feeders disabled, where your input can run the standard transactional or any other type of work you run and match with your standard feeders with the card feeders turned off.
All right, Mike, we've got the mechanics covered pretty well. Let's talk about speeds and feeds on this device.
This system is designed to go up to 18,000 an hour, and that speed can be achieved with applying 1 or 2 cards. There's no speed impact if you're applying 2.
So, Bluecrest is a proven technology provider. This card attaching system was designed to be compatible with most of our high-end inserters. It offers a large feature set to meet both transactional and direct mail needs. It has full end-to-end integrity. It leverages operator and service familiarity with other Bluecrest equipment, and it provides a quick return on investment. As we see more and more cards being sent to the mail, and as the market evolves, so must the technology. It is no longer a niche service that is being offered and no longer requires dedicated equipment. Our solution here allows both transactional and direct mailers to process simple and complex card applications at high speed. For more information on our card attaching solution, please contact your Bluecrest representative.